Okay, so we're looking at an IELTS Task 2 essay. We're looking at causes of a problem and solutions, okay? So the classic format is going to be your introduction. You're going to then talk about the causes of the problem. You're going to suggest some solutions and then have your conclusion. The best essays, the solutions that you propose should link to the causes that you've mentioned. So it just makes more sense. It's logical that way, okay? Your essay's not coherent or cohesive if you say, well, the causes of climate change are too much plastic and fossil fuels, and then your solutions are not related to that. So your solutions are that there should be more awareness and we should clean water. Do you know what I mean? Like, it has to link to what you said, okay? So when you're thinking of your causes, make sure that you're then thinking, okay, what solutions could I propose for that? Okay, so let's take a look at the topic. In many countries, schools have severe problems with student behaviour. What do you think are the causes of this and what solutions can you suggest? Okay, so we're looking at the problem for student behaviour in schools. So let's take a look and see what this candidate's done. It is a well-known fact that schools are suffering from bad student behaviour. I believe this problem stems from violent media content and less education about student behaviour, and this can be solved by regulations about contents and more education. Okay, so we need a comma here. Okay, so we're separating our causes from our solutions with a comma, and this can be solved by regulations about content and more education. More education about what? And more education about or concerning. So, I mean, this is, as an introduction, this is fine. It's your very basic level of introduction. To improve, they can explain the background more. And in detail. Okay, so you can give some examples. I like to use, maybe statistics or numbers. Recently reports have shown that in South Korea, the number of students referred for bad behavior in school has increased 40% over the previous decade. Okay, or something like that. So you can give me a bit more data, and you can just make it up. It doesn't have to be true. You can just lie if you want to. But you can sort of mention some statistics. So that would help beef up your introduction a little bit and help you push beyond that kind of basic to good introduction. So look at the first section. One reason for bad student behavior is that students are exposed to some violent and inappropriate content. These include some violent and inappropriate content. This includes, I would make it singular, pornography, gunfire, drug advertising, and some teasing words or harassment. Teasing is friendly. It's not super negative to tease someone. Usually we say teasing is just making fun of something you would do to your friends. So you probably wouldn't say teasing words. I think here they mean swear words or inappropriate language. So you could probably say and inappropriate language or harassment. These are really dangerous for youngsters because they tend to imitate the actions of adults. As the use of the internet increases, they have a high chance to bump into some provocative content. So again, bump into is quite informal. You bump into a friend. Oh, I just went to Starbucks and I bumped into my coworker or something like that. So we wouldn't say that especially about the internet. You tend not to bump into something on the internet. Because if you think about the physical action bump to hit someone, it's kind of like if you met someone in real life. So they have a high chance, I would say this to encounter. They have a high chance of encountering provocative content. Consequently, so you're making a guess, right? You're predicting the future. They may, okay, because you don't know 100%, you're sort of making an assumption, you're making a guess. Consequently, they may become more vulnerable to some bad behavior from inappropriate videos or images. Another reason is that these days schools have been wired to focus more on academic ability than good behavior. Okay, wired to. This is a very sort of native speaker phrase. So I think it's good that this student knows it and they've tried to use it. Okay, schools have been wired to do this, or people have been wired to do that, but it's very informal. And so I would probably replace it with these days schools have been encouraged to or set up to focus more on academic ability than good behaviour. Parents have also seemed to concentrate on test scores, on the test scores of their children instead of their good behaviour and attitudes. Okay. Okay, so I mean it's explained. We've got lots of examples. They've shown me some logic chains, which is good in terms of they've made a good effort to explain why this has caused the problem. So there's lots of bad content on the internet. Therefore, and as the number of people using the internet increases, there's more chance that students will see this, and therefore they're going to copy it. Therefore, they're going to behave more badly. So it's a really good example of a chain of logic. This part could be extended a little bit more, and what I really want to see are some examples. And again, you can kind of make it up. You can give me some percentages, you can give me some statistics, some numbers, but I'd like to see it explained a bit more with a bit more detail. Okay, so the other body says, one of the solutions to this problem can be more education about behavior to students. By extending hours to teach how to be polite and the importance of behavior, students can notice and realize why they have to be polite. By extending hours to teach. This doesn't really are they already teaching them to do this? So maybe you want to say by increasing the number of hours. Maybe you want to say by increasing the number of hours given to moral education within the curriculum. Okay, students can notice and realize why they have to be polite. So I think that would be a better way of phrasing it. This can motivate them to behave well in schools. Also, to solve it, violent content needs to be controlled and censored due to the fact that this can have a detrimental impact on student behavior. It has to be blocked for young people to see those contents, to see that kind of content. Okay, so again, they've done a pretty good job at explaining their ideas and explaining their thoughts. They've given 2 solutions, and the solutions do link back to the 2 problems that they identified. So that's good. So conclusion, the bottom line is that bad student behavior in schools results from harmful media. The bottom line is, again, this is like a very sort of natural phrase, but it's actually very informal. Okay, so if we're writing a formal academic essay, we wouldn't necessarily say the bottom line is, okay? There's nothing wrong with saying to conclude, to sum up, in summary, okay? I know it feels like that seems very boring and basic, but it works. There's nothing wrong with writing that. Results from harmful media and ignorance of schools to teach students good behaviour, and this can be solved by preventing students from inappropriate content and more education about behaviour. Okay, so they've summarised their points. There's nothing really wrong with that. Okay, so in terms of task achievement, they've done a good job at sort of explaining themselves, trying to show me their logic. They're missing, I would say, sort of examples, statistics, things you've made up, like a pretend quote from someone from a newspaper. I probably give a 6.5 for task achievement. Coherence and cohesion, it was pretty coherent. It linked together well. I probably want to give a 6.5 to that. It was logical. The ideas linked together. Vocabulary, I probably want to give a 6 because there was instances of informal or inappropriate word choices of vocabulary. Particularly when in stuff like this means for bad behavior, wired to, and things like that, I think could be improved upon. Grammar, I probably can give a 6. They were understandable, but there was a lot of consistent mistakes. Okay, so I think they need to be working on that a little bit. So I think, to be honest, it's coming out an overall 6. I know that if you add all these together and average them out, they round up, so it would come out at 6.5. So maybe I could see an argument where someone might pull this down to a 6.0. I don't think this essay is hitting an overall 6.5. It feels like a 6.0 essay to me. And the things I think they can work on the most is their vocabulary, to check that the vocabulary they're using is appropriate. And task achievement, add in some more examples, like spend a bit more time explaining if possible.